Good old Roach. Roach, because this is take 999 of this episode. But we ain't giving up. You know why?
Let's do it tomorrow.
There is no tomorrow.
That's why. Yo, so, everybody, welcome back to another episode of Combat and Kick It with your boy Bando. You know how it goes. UFC 288 was this past weekend, and I got to come through with my review, as always. And it was a pretty decent card. Not the best, not the worst. The prelims were pretty fun. A lot of exciting performances. A great debut. A couple good finishes. The main event, 50-50. Not the best, not the worst. I enjoyed it though. Overall, I thought I said main event. The main event was good. The main card, so-and-so. But you already know, I got to come through with the review. So let's just get into it.
Scores the contest 48-47 for the winner by split decision, and still the undisputed UFC bantamweight champion of the world, Aljamain Sterling.
So, you know how I do my reviews. I usually don't do the prelims because that'll make it a very long episode. But gotta do some mentioning of the prelims because there was some A1 finishes. There was a dope finish with the one dude who fought Hamza. I can't even think of the guy's name right now. I wouldn't be able to pronounce it if it was in front of me anyways. But beautiful finish over Phil Hawes. Nasty knockout. Straight down the pipe. Caught him. Beautiful knockout. You also had Drew Dober, bro. Drew Dober got KO'd. What the fuck? I didn't expect that at all. Not by Matt Frevola. No disrespect to Matt Frevola, but that was the last person I expected to knock out Drew Dober. I thought Drew Dober was going to be able to win this fight and start pushing himself to get those big fights against those super exciting guys like Dustin, Justin, maybe even Tony. Well, Tony, not Tony right now, but you know what I mean. Like some crazy shit, some crazy fire fights, a Michael Chandler fight or something in the future, but couldn't get it done. Got knocked out by Matt Frevola. Nasty shot. So those are just my quick little prelim mentions because you can't pass that up. There was a few other good prelim fights. That Kennedy versus Devin Clark. I'm not even gonna try to pronounce his last name. I butcher it every time. The Kennedy dude, but that was a good fight. That was a heavy hitter type of fight. They both pushed each other on the endurance level and on the whose dog's gonna show, and it was Kennedy's. So that was a good fight too. But let's just get on to the main card. You know me, I'm solid with the main card. I pay attention very close to the main card. Sometimes with the prelims, I'll scroll through my phone. I'm paying attention to tweets, Instagram, seeing other stuff too. But I was pretty focused on the main card. Opening the main card, you had Kron Gracie versus Charles Jourdain. And in the overall worst performance of the year, shout out to Kron Gracie. You got it, my friend. No, like, I'm not trying to be a dickhead, but that was bad game planning, bad performance. Reminded me a lot of Ryan Hall versus Aaliyah Tapiria. If you remember that fight, it was a lot like that one, where the game plan was just, if I'm losing the striking, let me try to do something to bring it to the ground. But once they got to the ground, he didn't do anything with it. He would pull guard and do nothing with it. Charles Jourdain had fantastic defense against it, though. Not many people are mentioning that, and that needs to be mentioned. He had fantastic defense against it. Keeping his hands very tight, not giving any openings. Nothing that Kron could slip and grab and start manipulating in any way. Because you know when it comes to the Gracies, that jiu-jitsu background is close to untouchable, man. It's a fantastic background. And Kron Gracie, we know Kron Gracie with the jiu-jitsu just in general, his Brazilian jiu-jitsu career. He's nasty. He's very nasty, and he could not get it done. He didn't have much for Charles Jourdain. Charles was piecing him out on the feet and was looking good on the ground as well. And Charles Jourdain did his thing, and I wouldn't be surprised if he got some sort of performance bonus because he did his thing. He came prepared, but it definitely wasn't Kron Gracie's night in any way. He didn't really show up. Not with a good game plan, and just almost like he just wasn't ready. Just wasn't ready. He's a strange dude. He's a different breed, but he's a Gracie, so they got different things going on over there. You know, no disrespect to the Gracies, because they're legendary. It's legend. So many Gracies in MMA. So half of it's built by the fucking Gracies. But either way, not a good performance. Let me get on to the next fight before I just fucking babble off saying some stupid shit. So on to the next fight was that Movsar Evloev versus Diego Lopez. Diego Lopez making his debut on short notice. That should have been my man's Bryce Mitchell. Should have been Thug Nasty in there. We should have seen the camo shorts, but we fucking didn't. We got Diego Lopez instead. He did his thing. I gotta give a huge shout out to that kid, and I hope the UFC gives him some sort of bonus, some sort of extra money, because he did his fucking thing that night. He looked phenomenal against a 16-0 who was looking like a monster. Honestly, looking like a monster, out here saying that he was going to be the guy to finish Volkanovski, all this and that. Yeah, okay. All right. Listen, bub. You're talking about you're going to finish Volkanovski, and you couldn't finish a guy on his debut on short notice. The man was giving you problems in every which way. He gave you problems a couple times on the feet, and even was a threat on the ground, bro. That's not the type of guy that's gonna go in there and finish Alexander Volkanovski. So, hate to break that to you, but some people are gonna have to break it to you, because it's just the truth. You really think you're gonna finish Volkanovski? Hey, gotta have the confidence, right? But he stays undefeated, 17-0. Movsar Evloev, and he actually is a beast. I'm not gonna lie. He's very talented. I think just the Diego Lopez dude came to show up, and when you come to show up in those types of performances, because you have nothing to lose. He knows he had nothing to lose. This is UFC debut on short notice. It wasn't meant to be his UFC debut anyway. So what the fuck? Why not go out there and at least try to bring it a firefight? You know, let me see what type of dog I got in me. See if I can pull the dog out of this dude. Let's go for it. Let's see. And Evloev showed actually a lot of experience in there. You know, he showed more experience, definitely more control on the ground. But there was a lot of mistakes he made that Diego capitalized on, but just not well enough. You know, still, it's a guy on his debut, but it's an undefeated dude on his way up. So he was doing his thing. He was definitely doing his thing. So that was a fantastic performance for Diego Lopez, win, lose, or draw. You got to give him something on a debut like that on short notice. You got to hook him up. But Evloev, like I said, stays undefeated. And we go on to the next fight. Jessica Andrade takes on Yan Xiaonan, and this fight didn't go anywhere near what I expected it to be. Now, I can understand people putting Yan Xiaonan as a plus 20. I think it was like a plus 2,400 or maybe even higher for her to knock out Jessica Andrade. But to put her as a big underdog would be shocking, and that's what they did. They had her as a big underdog, and that girl is nasty, man. She's got good hands, and she showed it. Now, Jessica Andrade, she throws caution to the wind a lot because she has power. She has power that finishes girls in that division. We've seen it done, and she can continue to do it. If she lands clean, it's night for any girl in that division. But the thing about it is she keeps her hands low, and she's swinging for the fence. And if someone stays poking down the middle, staying clean, staying tight, she's going to get tagged. Now, Teddy Atlas was next to Dana White, and I wouldn't have known this if I didn't watch the post-fight press conference, but Dana White was saying that Teddy Atlas was telling him, Jessica Andrade keeps throwing this lead left hook. She's going to get caught because Yan Xiaonan was staying down the middle. She was staying straight. She was coming down the middle, and that's exactly what happened. The thing about it is she's throwing this lead thing, and like I said, she throws kind of caution to the wind. She's not throwing it as like a quick little check or a quick little counter. She's throwing that shit from the hip, nothing blocking here, with the right loaded up right here. Now, I'm not a fighter, so who am I to say that she's doing shit wrong? But when you see that it's wide open, you get tagged. Yan Xiaonan pinged her right down the middle. knocked her out, and I was shocked. I was shocked because you don't expect that one to happen. It's the same thing with Drew Dober. I expect Drew to get knocked out. I expect Jessica Andrade to get knocked out. Now I expected it to be a good fight. I figured she may or may not win. She's been doing very good, but she keeps bouncing divisions. That could be an issue too. Going back up and down, that could be a problem. That can cause a lot of issues. But Yan Xiaonan, man, that's a nasty, nasty, nasty fighter. And I'll be interested to see her against Weili Zhang. Now, Weili Zhang definitely is much more skilled on the wrestling side, but that fight stays standing. That'd be a really exciting fight. And that's a bad, I think they're both from China. So that's a battle of China right there. That would be big seller for the UFC and I think an enjoyable fight for the fans. So, let's get cracking on to the co-main event. I was disappointed with this co-main event, not because of the performance, but because of what happened. Gilbert Burns got injured and just couldn't really get any shots off, couldn't throw anything, and I think that just really ruined the overall performance that we could have got. For it being a 5-round fight, it was much slower paced than it could have been. I don't think fans were too happy with it. It was a more boring fight. No offense to Bilal Muhammad. A lot of people already have that over his head that he's a boring fighter. But it wasn't the most impressive performance. But I had a feeling that could happen even with both guys if they were at 100%. I feel like it could happen because of the technical skill on each end. They're both a threat in different ways, I thought Bilal looked good on the stand-up, but at the same time, you're going to look good on the stand-up if the other guy can't throw no punches. And Gilbert wasn't throwing no punches. He couldn't throw no punches. I thought if any time that the fight could have went to the ground, I was surprised Bilal didn't shoot or anything like that. I was expecting Bilal to clinch and shoot and see Gilbert have some success on the jiu-jitsu side, but the fight didn't go anywhere near what I expected it to be. Lot of good kicks were thrown by Bilal Muhammad. Bilal's striking was pretty decent. Like I said, you look good against a guy that isn't able to throw any punches back, but he was doing his thing. He was throwing them. He was staying. The thing about Bilal I'll give props to is he's staying consistent. If something's winning him the fight, he doesn't just stop it. You know what I'm saying? It's not like Jan Blachowicz versus Magomed Ankalaev. He was landing nothing but leg kicks, chopping down the tree, just chopping him down, chopping him down, chopping him down, seeing that it's working, and then he abandoned it. We've seen that so many times with fighters. They will abandon something that is fucking working. And Bilal is not that guy. Bilal actually is out there doing what he knows is working, and he continues to do that. So I give him props for that. And he got the decision win. Now, yeah, number one contender. He gets the number one contender shot for that. Like they were saying, that's gonna be whoever wins that fight is number one contender for winner of Colby and Leon whenever that happens. Your boy got cotton mouth. I'm sorry. Can't help it. Smoke a lot of weed, and that's what happens. Quick little 2-second smoke break there. But yeah. So obviously Bilal's gonna get the next title shot. So the title shot of whoever wins with Leon and Colby, and it could be an interesting matchup either way. But the performance itself wasn't very impressive to bring a lot of viewers, to bring a lot of people to wanting to see you fight for the title. It's tough because you got to get the fans behind you too. And yeah, the UFC's like, yeah, he's number one contender. But man, if the fans are like, fuck, you get Khamzat and Usman, and Khamzat goes out there and destroys Usman, you know what I'm saying? If that was to happen, or if Usman destroys Khamzat and Colby's the champion, you know, there's circumstances where fans will push for something else over Bilal Muhammad, especially after performances like that. Now, there are a lot of fans who stick to the rankings, the full flow of everything. Like, to me, I stick to it sometimes and don't, because they don't. You kind of just rock however they rock with it. If you don't care about the rankings, I'm not going to give a fuck about the rankings. But I understand where people do get mad, and that's where people want to see Bilal get his shot. And he'll get his shot eventually, but it just wasn't the highlighted performance. And I'm sure he gets it. I'm sure it wasn't. He's not sitting there saying that this was a highlighted performance himself, but he did his thing. He got the win, and that's most important, especially against a guy like Gilbert Burns. I hope to see Gilbert again in 2023 though. I hope to see him fight 2 more fucking times. I hope he fights 5 times and he wins the next 2 times. I don't care if you fight for the belt or not. Fighting 5 times in a year, doing something fucking wild like that. He did take some damage and unfortunately got injured, so he might not be able to. He might end up getting on the 6 month, so might be just 3 and done. But I think it would be like dope to see him keep going. Like that just proves the baddest motherfucker in the division type of thing, the true BMF type of thing. And I respect Gilbert Burns so much to be able to back like that on pay-per-views is some badass shit. So shout out to Gilbert Burns. Good performance for not being able to have any tools. You're fixing something with no tools. That sucks. He did his thing. He tried his best, and Bilal still came out with the dub. So on to the main event. The main event was much more exciting than I expected it to be, and rightfully so, to be honest with you, because both these men showed up. They showed up, and you saw the clash of styles perfectly. You saw the freestyle, funky style from Aljamain Sterling, and you saw the high-level IQ type of style, and Henry just doing what we know Henry of doing. The only thing I would say Henry looked different is he wasn't as fast. He wasn't very quick. Didn't seem very explosive. He seemed more explosive in older fights. But 3 years layoff, that's a tough layoff to come back from. I think if he would have took a tune-up fight, you would have been talking about a different main event last night. But he didn't take a tune-up fight. He went straight in it, guns a-blazing, went for the fight, and he got the championship fight. Fought Aljamain Sterling. Very, very, very close fight. Let's put that on the table right now. That was an extremely close fight. A lot of people are even saying it went to Henry Cejudo. And I haven't talked to many people about the fight yet. I've just been seeing stuff on social media, so I'm going to talk to my people and see what people think and see what the opinions were and see who really came out with the dub. I'm leaning a little bit more towards Aljo, but I can understand people saying Henry won. Every fight Aljo is in is a close one. He's getting split decision wins. These are not the way he's going to get the fan respect that he wants. It's very tough. It's very tough to get the fan respect that you're looking for when you're continuously getting split decision wins, and they're close. They're close. Every fight you've been in, every single fight you've been in can be ran back. Can literally be ran back. But I think the fans, I think people are overall wanting to see the Sean O'Malley fight now, so they're gonna run that, and that's gonna be interesting. You got a guy that's the same size as Aljo, probably longer reach. Good on the feet. I think a lot of the funky stuff that Aljo does is gonna be neutralized by Sean's stand-up, but at the same time, Sean's stand-up is going to be neutralized by that ground game of Aljo. Henry had fantastic takedown defense in the main event, because when Aljo shoots, man, he doesn't give up. He doesn't give up, and Henry made him stop the chain wrestling. There wasn't much chain wrestling. He really couldn't do much chain wrestling. So Henry did good on the defense. I thought Aljo did good on his defense as well. And it was a very back and forth fight. It was way closer than I expected it to be, and way more exciting than I expected it to be. So that's wild. All in the same week, I predicted Aljamain Sterling to win, which is crazy. I never rock with Aljamain Sterling. And I said Aljamain Sterling was in an exciting fight. So props off to Aljo. He did his thing. It's very tough to not do your thing when you're coming out of Ray Longo's corner. You got Matt Serra and shit in your corner. L.I. Quinta. I'm not a big fan of Marab, but Marab's a savage too. You got guys like that in your training camp helping you out. I can see Aljo being on top for a decent amount, but who knows? It just takes the right guy. It just takes the right guy. And in my opinion, the right guy is somebody he beat already, who's just sitting there waiting and staying quiet. The one that really deserves a title shot, and it's Corey Sandhagen. But that's for a whole other episode. You already know. I appreciate you for sitting and listening to me ramble about UFC stuff, fight stuff, smoke, the usual. I appreciate you always. You know what to do. Do me a favor, hit up all that YouTube stuff, the likes, the comments. Make sure you subscribe. Hit the bell notification button for notifications when more videos come out. You know how this goes. I shouldn't even have to repeat myself at this point. Just do it. I appreciate you. I'll catch you on the next episode. Peace.